Hi everyone, this is Tanya the Lady Strange. Welcome to my altar room and welcome to another weekly collective reading for the week of May 18th to May 24th of 2025. Now I've already connected with my guides on here, and so I do let you know I may or may not be filming these for a while or much on YouTube. The logarithm doesn't find me favorable. I do get only a few random views, which the people that do watch, I do know you, and I appreciate it. But again, for my time and my energy, and someone that suffers from imposter syndrome, it's not necessarily healthy to film or take up the time or energy for this. I will, because there's certain people that I do these readings for that do value my message and my honesty versus a bunch of fake fluff. You can tell I'm a bit in a mood this morning. But yes, the logarithm doesn't find that. It doesn't find a reality on that. And most people, I guess, do not appreciate a real honest message and integrity. So I'm sorry if this does come across rude to start off my video. But yes. But I do have an Instagram, Little Miss Girl 79, which I do post these, and I will continue to do so because I do a weekly written message of the sum up of the message that I get from here that I channel. So that will continue because there is certain people that I do that for that have requested it and do show their appreciation. This is no knock on anyone specifically, not a particular anger or direction at anyone. I guess it's just I'm human, and this is my life experience also. So with that being said, again, sorry if I'm in a bitchy mood. But that doesn't mean the week's going to be bitchy or the reading. I've already have tuned in. This message, though, however, is brought to you by Lucifer / Satan. That could be why also. But again, doesn't mean a negative message or connotation for the week. Actually, I do feel quite the opposite. The weekly crystal on this that has come up and I've been guided towards using is Carnelian. Look at that beautiful Carnelian. Now, this one is a gorgeous palm stone and a gorgeous specimen and energetic resonance example of Carnelian. Now, this actually belongs in one of my spirit lanterns for one of my main working spirits and companions and guides. But he graciously let me use it to be an example of this week's energy. Now, Carnelian has, much like I say, a double, two different sides of the same coin. Now, it is very fiery and very active, very connected to the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus. So the lower ones. The ones that are often neglected in this thing, but the ones that actually root us in reality. This is a stone of fire and will and power and connection. How also, just like it's great for the root chakra, it's very grounding. It has the components and the alchemy of both, which is something I look forward to. So this week, this crystal is guiding towards a combination of using your fire, your will, and standing up for yourself, your boundaries, and your truth, and taking those small and big steps that need to be, and weaving the fire of action versus inaction in this, but also being grounded in reality. Keep your feet on the ground and not your head in the clouds. This is not going to be a good week for that. So again, Carnelian's great. It can be used for many multi-purposes. And again, it's saying to feel your fire, to feel your strengths, but in a grounded, concerted, and discerning effort. So that's the opening kind of message and also the guidance that is needed. So it's going to be a little different this week. I've already connected with my guides and the deities I work with. specifically, and that did want to step forth. This deck I am using, or as part of, this is just for the opening message for this week of the energies and what represents this collective. I'm going to see if it does resonate with you, or that you may. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine also. So this is the Nameless one, but this is just the Oracle portion. I separate and use the actual Nameless Tarot and Oracle separately. This is specifically for my guides. So this is a message from my guides to you all who may find resonance or message or value in this. And of course myself, as I'm part of this collective too. What energies or message or affirmation that's going to represent this collective to take into consideration, discern, or may also energetically, see, can't talk, energetically play into effect. This deck is very high magic, is a gorgeous, delicious deck, and it's got sigils and animals and just a great interpretation. It does not resonate with everyone, but it resonates with me. And I will read from the guidebook because the guidebook is great. I'm not bringing out the huge grimoire, but the regular one. So let's see before this video gets too long and too chatty. Well, look at that one. Okay. As you can see, there's a sigil there. And you can see up there a death moth of sorts. So this one, I do know, before I get into the guidebook, it is and I'll read you the exact title, but I know that it's a bringer of powerful magic. Like that Carnelian, bring in powerful magic this week. Now, powerful and transformative magic. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a practitioner or witch like myself, or practice any forms of that, or even walk the path. This just means embracing the magic of your humanity, your experience, and what you can create. And what you have been continuing to create, I believe, over the past few weeks and past several months. That's kind of come into play. There's been a lot of transformation. And this is an affirmation that this collective is transforming in a very empowered, effective way, following their guidance, their discernment, and what works for them. And they're using their tools and their resources to bring about what works day to day and in this week. So let's see what the guidebook actually says for this. Again, as I mentioned, this is the little guidebook. She is amazing. Just a second while I find. If it doesn't want to lose me, which it does at points. Perhaps I went too far, and perhaps I flip back and I find it. So here's a little guidebook. I'm just going to take some key elements from this message. And of course, it is the bringer of powerful magic, like I said. And that's magic with a K. So the magic spelling. The deep, dark magic of things. So the message and affirmation, again, magic doesn't have to be it's what you wield, the knowledge you bring, your efforts, your joy, your relationships, what you create, your experience, your presence into this life and into this week and circumstances. So my magic is powerful, continuous, and constant. That means your presence and your energy and what you have to offer in this. Like you mentioned about in the beginning about imposter syndrome, we all have something to value and to offer and bring into this world and what we bring to the table in our circumstances. Of course, life's frustrating, so yeah. But it's talking about basically this is a message of embracing your change. Your efforts and what you have been working towards and working through is not futile, but actually does bear results, even if it's not something you may see or comes in a great big reward or that others may acknowledge. It's acknowledged, it's seen by your guides, it is seen by those that matter in the circumstances, but most of all, what you see and feel in yourself, in your personal relationships, and the response around you. So this week is embrace the transformation. That's the feel. Embrace your magic, embrace your truth. Now, the weekly actual collective tarot card or message is coming from the Ritual Tarot. So I said this message is from Lucifer. Lucifer prefers this deck as it's full of wisdom, authority, truth, different symbolism, a lot of symbolism, intricate messages that require discernment, that speak to each of us differently, as he does, if that does work for you, that is, or you connect. What does this collective need to know this week? What does this collective most need to know or will affect this collective in situational, circumstantial, and energetic and relationships? What does this collective most need to know and will be their experience for this week to embrace and use their magic and their authority, their will, but in a healthy, effective way, and have a great week, like that rooted, grounded energy of the Carnelian, and like bringing in the courage, the strength, and the pride of using your own gifts. That's what the bringer of powerful magic is. Using your courage, your strength, and what your efforts bring into fruition. And it's appropriate for the card, for basically the message of the week, the Knight of Wands. Now look at that beautiful card. Tiara May creates beautiful decks. I also have, of course, the Cave of Sybil deck, which is one of my favorites. This is such an evocative and provocative deck. It doesn't resonate with anybody, but those of us that know. So basically, the message that I am getting on here is kind of like you see this knight as kind of has a sense of mirth and laughter. So part of your magic is your joy and your laughter, your sense of humor, your that which is quirkiness, but also your strength of will or your unconventional energies that you're bringing forth this week. This collective this week will be creating and bringing into effect a sense of knowing and being prideful in yourself, the courage that you have, and that you have actually showed up for yourself in the past few weeks and the past few months already, and continuing and wittingly knowing to move forward with a strength of will. Wands have to be all about actions that we take or don't take, our will, what we want to create, and what we actually bring forth and step forth with. The magic we wield, so to say, like to bring our powerful magic. That is what we have that we can offer, what is uniquely ours and not others. So this week is the night. Charge forth with your intuition, your sense of knowing, being guided, your third eye being open, as I say, but having much like this card, having a sense of joy at what you're bringing forth and what you already is coming into fruition. This is going to be a very, this is a great energy, I feel. This is a great energy. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of how far you have come and how you are continuing to put forth the effort. And I'm going to take one from the bottom. That's what I'm being guided towards. So let's see what the one from the bottom has. Well, 10 of Swords. However, the 10 of Swords was on the bottom, remember. So this is saying a message of what may be lying beneath. But remember, the 10 of Swords, just like any other card, has two sides to its story, just as life does in situations. And we have multiple facets to our own personal stories and experience. But it is advising, the message I'm actually getting from this, as do not overthink your situations before you take action. Be like the Knight of Swords or Knight of Wands, and even like the Knight of Swords. Might not, but I believe that may be a message that's showing up for some of us, is that the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands charge forth with strength and will. Don't overthink and don't overanalyze, and do not let the past define your present or your future. So that's this week. Do not let your past define the present and the future, and bring in forth joy, mirth, pride, and the laughter that you can bring in, and the sense of knowing that Knight of Wands. Do not doubt yourself like this 10 of Swords, but to actually know that you with courage and strength and not second guessing. Because you only know yourself. Don't let others doubt you either. And don't let past and overthinking and overanalyze stop you from making the decisions that you need to and not holding you back, but to move forward. And yeah, that's definitely a message for myself. And lastly, we're going to take one from the Earth and Bone as a takeaway message from this crazy message of mine, my rant. But see, just because I might be in a mood doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily a bad week by any means. If anything, I see we're continuing to make effective progress carried over from last week. Okay, we got a jumper. If I can find it. Sorry about that. That happens often with my guides, especially when I'm tuned in, especially for certain things that are important. So this is important to know as a takeaway or a wrap-up or clarifier. Flight. Well, that goes pretty good with a Knight of Wands, if you think. See how things work in conjunction with one another. So, it is opportunity, prosperity, and new ventures. Well, those are perfect takeaways. New ventures, take those opportunities without the 10 of Swords, and know that the 10 of Swords is a sense of completion of being held back and letting circumstances actually fall away. It's a new week, a new thing to continue to bring forth. Take flight, take action with authority and not self-doubt. Be self-assured. Be proud of yourself, your magic, your truth, and what you have to offer. Just like I'm being told and corrected right now from myself, that yes, I'm frustrated as I don't feel like I'm getting the recognition or reaping the benefits of that. But potentially I am, just like I said. I know I am. It's just a sense of I'm human. I have moods and mood swings. All right. So this is going to be a great week. So if you do find any value in my rants, my moods, or my messages, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if not, well, that's fine too. It's whatever you feel inclined to. And with that, stay strange, and we'll see if there's more future videos or not, like I said. Thank you.